Hi guys, welcome to the show. It's your girl Sarah and Heba right here on Relax Radio. Now you're tuned into the sunrise and we're going to be talking about cyberbullying, all right? Which is, a very important conversation to be having. So that's why Heba and I are here to actually have this conversation with you, to share your thoughts, to share our thoughts, but also to listen to your thoughts. All right. So Heba, why don't you tell them the numbers that they can contact us on and how they can actually get in touch with us? Hiba, we can't really hear you. No, not yet. Nope. All right. So what we'll do is we'll end this broadcast and we will be back in a few more minutes once we've gotten these technical difficulties sorted. So until then, just make sure you stay tuned, all right? Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It's Hiba and I here on Relax Radio. We're here to have a conversation. Now, before we quickly get into a conversation, Hiba here is actually here to tell us ways in which you can get in touch with us. So Hiba, why don't you tell everyone who's listening in? Hiba, sorry to disturb you, but we can't actually hear you. Maybe you've gotten yourself muted or something. All right, so we'll just get that sorted, but we will be back. So until then, just make sure you are, you're tuned in and you're listening to the conversation because, like I said, we have a lot to be talking about. So until then, just make sure you stay tuned and listen into our app, so that way you can actually make sure that you are listening into the conversation from anywhere in the world at any time of the day. But we will be back after these,
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. what am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is, we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education, or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account. And then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so with different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
and it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're writing? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts mainly one because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Welcome to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio. And unfortunately, Hiba had to sort of, go figure out those technical difficulties. Now, something I don't understand is that how is it 2021 and we're still having technical difficulties? You know what I mean? It always happens, and it always happens in the most crucial of moments. And I'm always thinking, oh my gosh, like why? Why is this happening right now? All right. However, she had to go because because of all those technical difficulties. But don't worry, because I'm here to keep you company all the way until 9 a.m. because I still have a little bit more left to talk about cyberbullying. All right. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you share your thoughts and your opinions with me. All you need to do is just WhatsApp me on 07852473473. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what your thoughts are, because, I want to know how you feel about cyberbullying as well. Because this is something that we've all gone through, right? Cyberbullying isn't just something I've gone through. You've been there as well. Or maybe you're currently going through it. So let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you feel about this, and share your thoughts and opinions with me. And while we're doing that, also don't forget to go follow us on our socials, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. That way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated about everything that happens, not just here in the UK, but in fact all over the entire world as well. All right. So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you are updated and listening into the conversation. However, let's quickly head into a conversation, but not before I remind you that you can download our app, which is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. You can listen in from either your iOS or your Android device, and make sure you contribute to the conversation from anywhere in the world. So don't forget to do that. And now let's actually move into our conversation, because, like I said, we have a lot to still discuss with regard to with regard to what we are going to be discussing. All right, now let's quickly talk about cyberbullying. So cyberbullying is something that we've all been through, right? And the reason I wanted to talk about cyberbullying is yesterday I was, obviously I was on the internet. I was on my social media, and I was scrolling down Instagram and whatnot, right? And I saw this video where it had documented all of the threats that Jack Grealish's girlfriend was getting. And if you don't know who that is, he's actually a football player. And ever since, they lost the Euro 2020, you know how there have been so many players out there who have been targeted and, they've been going through online bullying as well. So people like Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, they have all been going through, they've all been cyberbullied online, right? And these are, things that and they've been told things that are really hurtful, racist comments basically, and death threats as well after losing the Euro final. So that is a conversation that we really, really need to be having. And the reason I'm saying this is because cyberbullying actually happens here in the United Kingdom as well. But obviously, in addition to cyberbullying happening here in the United Kingdom, it's something that a lot of other countries go through as well. But right now, let's actually talk a little bit about cyberbullying. because I want you to sort of understand what exactly it is and what exactly it means, because a lot of people tend to think that cyber I mean, a lot of people do or rather a lot of people cyberbully, but they aren't really aware that it is bullying, right? They just think it's like borderline fun or just like teasing someone, but they don't really know, or they aren't really aware about the fact that they are teasing someone and that they are making someone feel uncomfortable and threatened. All right. But right now, what you need to keep in mind is that there is no legal definition per se with regards to bullying, but it's often described as behavior that hurts someone else, either physically or emotionally or, mentally, right? And this can happen at any time to anyone. It's not just for children, but it's for other people, as older people, as well, as we saw in the cases of the football of the England football team, right? And it can happen it can happen at home, it can happen at office, wherever it is. Bullying can happen everywhere, right? Now, in addition to bullying, there's also something called cyberbullying, right? Which is basically bullying that takes place over the internet. And this is harassment that takes place over the internet. So it can be from rude comments about the way you look, who you are as a person, or even spreading misinformation, rumors about you, and even going on to try and blackmail and threaten you as well. Now, these are instances of cyberbullying, and here in England it happens quite often, right? And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because there are children as young as 13, 14 years old bullying other children of that same age. And we've heard so many stories of how bullying actually led to other kids, either committing suicide, self-harming, or going through so much of terrible things and terrible feelings that it actually drove them to the point of wanting to kill themselves. So cyberbullying is in fact a huge problem, right? And I want to share some stories of bullying I've heard as well, because that is definitely going to help us understand, it's going to help us understand why exactly this is a terrible thing and what exactly needs to be done to actually make sure that we try and change the way in which people view cyberbullying, and make sure that people change and try to make that necessary change that they need to change, so that they need to adjust, so that way we can make a lot of changes with regard to the way things are viewed right now. Right now, around 1 in 5 children aged 10 to 15 years in England and Wales, which is about 19%, experienced at least some type of online bullying last year, right? And this was until 2020 March, right? And this is just March. So imagine now the rest of that year has gone by, and we've gone through another year that ends in March 2021, and a few more months as well, but bullying still happens, right? So why exactly does bullying happen? Why do people do these things, and why is it more common than ever before? Now, something you need to keep in mind, obviously, is that right now there is in fact a greater use of smartphones, right? Literally everyone, who maybe you don't even have to be a teenager, right? I got my first phone when I was 17. But I'm hearing of kids are getting their phones when they're 9, 10 years old. And that's probably the worst thing you can do to a child of that age, right? And the reason I'm telling you this is because when you're so young, when you're 9, 10 years old, what happens is, instead of focusing on your childhood and doing childhood things like going out and playing with your friends, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be on your phone, you're going to be on your social media, you're going to be posting TikToks and whatnot. And you know what, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're essentially going to lose that, you're going to lose that huge you're going to lose on your childhood, basically, is what I'm trying to say, right? All those memories that you could have made when you were a child, all those things you could have done when you were a child, you're essentially going to lose out on those, all right? And that's why it's very, very important for you to actually, really figure out as a parent what age is good to give, what age is suitable for your children to have a phone. All right. Now, speaking from my experience, I got my phone when I was 17, and I think that's partially because I have brown parents. But I think a lot of people nowadays get phones very, very early on in their life, right? And that's I think again, it all depends on how you're going to use that phone. And more often than not, when you give a child a phone when they're so young, they tend to get they, because of their lack of awareness and because of the fact that they don't really know how the internet works and how there are strangers on the internet that can possibly ruin their life for them. They don't really know how that works, and so they're unaware of that, and they tend to fall in trouble, which is what we've seen as well. When you give phones to children at such a young age, they don't understand about predators, they don't understand about stalkers, they don't understand that some, like, one little thing that they do, it could be really, it could be something really small, but that could possibly have the biggest effect. And something else we need to keep in mind is that the internet is a big place, right? And what happens in the internet is that whatever happens, whoever you shout at, whoever you troll, those comments, those tweets, whatever it is, they actually stay for a really long time. The internet is practically unerasable. Literally everything that you post on the internet is going to be there permanently, so you really need to think twice about whether what you're posting is actually going to look good, or if it could possibly result in it could possibly result in something bad and terrible happening to you. All right, and that's why it's very, very important to have that conversation. All right. So, like I said, because children get their phones at such a young age, they're quite unaware of the impacts of it. They're quite unaware about what exactly could go wrong and what exactly, could possibly ruin their lives, that they don't really understand they don't really understand the impact of it. All right, so that's why cyberbullying is dangerous, because not a lot of children understand the impact of it. All right, now to get back into a conversation about bullying, now I said it happens in different ways, right? So one of the, or rather few of the ways in which cyberbullying happens is that first, the most common one is you basically troll them, right? If they post a picture, you will say something about them, or you'll call them names, they'll swear at you, or they'll insult you. They'll basically put you through those feelings of discomfort and make you feel like really bad about yourself, right? Now that is one form of bullying people. Now secondly, another way you can bully people online is by spreading rumors about you. You know how fast the internet spreads rumors, you know how fast you receive news, right? So in that exact same speed, you can spread rumors about you, because the internet is full of people who will use it for their advantage. Like, people on the internet literally just exist to ruin your life. Like, literally, that's their only focus. That's like the only thing they want to do with their life, and it's as scary as it is. Now the best example I can give you of this is one of my favorite shows, right? Now, I really, really like Gossip Girl, and don't judge me for that, but I have my reasons as to why I like it. But for you to find out why exactly I like it and why it's so good in helping us understand how bullying works, you'll have to stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you all about it after this break. All right, so until then, make sure you stay
The
tuned.
valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you've got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be? So that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what has happened. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million pounds. And they're different, right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so with different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio. Now you're tuned into the sunrise, and it is in fact the final few minutes of the sunrise. But don't worry, because we still have a lot more conversation left to be having with you, because we're talking about bullying right now, or rather, to be a bit more, bit more detailed, a bit more precise. We're talking about cyberbullying, and the reason we're talking about cyberbullying is because it is a huge problem, right? And even though a lot of people talk about it, even though everyone says cyberbullying is bad, we need to make certain changes, a lot of changes don't necessarily happen, right? And the reason, we're trying to figure out why exactly these changes don't happen and whatnot. So until then, make sure you stay tuned. All right, now please do get in touch with me. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this, because you can text me or call me on 07852473473 to share your thoughts and your opinions with me. Because like I said, this is an important topic, right? This is something that you and we've all experienced at a certain point in our life, right? Or maybe you didn't experience it, but you definitely know someone who has experienced it, right? And because cyberbullying is so common, it happens everywhere. And also, there are a whole lot of other issues with it being, a little bit hard to track, a little bit hard to figure out who exactly does it. Because, like I said, it's the internet, right? And the internet's a big place. So, make sure you stay tuned to tech, and, make sure you text and call me, because I want to know what you're thinking, and I want to know what you feel about this as well. All right, so that's just the number. But if you want to stay updated on the things we talk about, on the topics we talk about on our different shows, make sure to make sure to go follow us on our socials. Now you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. That way you can actually make sure that you're always listening to the conversation, you're always a part of the conversation. So don't forget to do that. All right. Now, something else that you can actually do is to make sure that you download our app, which is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. That way you can always listen into the conversation, make sure you're a part of the conversation, and make sure you contribute as much as you can to our conversation with your thoughts and opinions. All right. Don't forget to do that, because right now we're actually going to head into our conversation. Now, like I said, I was telling you about why Gossip Girl was my favorite show, because it deals with a lot of bullying, right? That's basically the show. That's basically what the show is about. And I'm talking about both the original show and the reboot. The reboot is more about the reboot isn't necessarily along the lines of the original Gossip Girl, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's okay, I guess. It's all right. I mean, I do enjoy watching it. However, going back to Gossip Girl, like, you literally understand from that TV series how exactly gossip works, because you know how fast Gossip Girl spreads rumors, and how it basically impacts all of the people who go to Constance, right? And that's what the story is about. So you understand from that TV series itself how much gossip, how much rumors, and how much cyberbullying has an impact on someone's life. All right. And the reason I wanted to bring that up and talk to you about it is because Gossip Girl is something that we've all watched, right? I mean, like I said, don't judge me for it, but it has a lot of great lessons. Like, for example, don't trust the internet. Or, secondly, be careful of what you post on the internet. And thirdly, like, really keep private things to yourself, because the moment someone gets to know about it, they will use it against you. It can be something good, but they will still find a way to use that against you, because that's just how the internet works. All right. So make sure you are safe. Make sure you take the necessary steps that you need to take to make sure you're protected, right? So what I was trying to tell you when I was talking about Gossip Girl is how fast rumors spread, how fast the internet. Because basically, if you watch the Gossip Girl reboot, what you would have noticed is that how fast Zoya's past is dug up. It literally just happens through a call and a text, and Gossip Girl and her sister, whose name I cannot remember, Julian, there we go. Her sister and Gossip Girl, they get access to it, and then eventually they end up showing it and embarrassing her as well. But that is what bullying is, right? That show is basically about bullying, and how bullying in some sense is glorified if you have status and power, right? So that's what the show is about, and it's an absolutely amazing show that you need to watch if you want to make yourself aware, if you want to really understand how bullying works and how to stay away from it. All right, so to get back into what I was saying, there are different types of bullying that happens, right? Now, the last thing I said was obviously that that rumors being spread about you is in fact one of the ways in which you can be bullied. Now, another thing that happens to you is you are essentially threatened or blackmailed. Say, for example, you posted a picture of yourself, right? And it's very easy nowadays to edit these pictures or do something really dangerous with it, and then ask you to do things for said person, to make sure that they don't release that picture or leak that picture, right? Which is another way cyberbullying happens as well. Now, that is in fact punishable. So if you are being bullied, if you are going through any of these things, make sure to tell it to someone that you're going through, tell it to someone who right? Now, if you tell your parents, you're obviously going to get shouted at, and your parents are probably going to blast you. But the thing is, your parents will definitely help you, your parents will definitely take your side, right? And that's why it's important to tell people that you're going through bullying, or tell someone who that you're going through bullying, because that way you can actually minimize the damage that's caused, and you can actually make sure that the person who's bullying you or threatening you is penalized, right? Because it is in fact considered a criminal offense. You can be especially if you're found to be blackmailing or threatening someone with their life, you can actually be penalized for it. So if you're feeling that way, and if you're feeling like someone is bullying you, well, go ahead and report it. Don't just wait, and don't just wait and think that maybe if you keep quiet, maybe they'll let you be. How bullies function is they basically feed off your fear, they feed off your insecurity, and they feed off the fact that you literally have no escape. So I know it's going to be hard for you to open up and tell your parents or tell your counselor that you're being bullied. But if you do tell them, you can get help. And I think that is what is absolutely important. All right. And that's just what we're going to be talking about for today. Now, I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you keep these things in mind to help you as well. But unfortunately, it's time for me to head out of here. But don't worry, because Jamie will be here on the chat trap to keep you company. And until then,